Red Flag Radio.
We see the signs.
Imagine working a full-time job, running a household, raising a 9-month-old, and your husband's big contribution is asking if you can go one day without complaining.
And somehow in this story, he's the one working his ass off. I'm already exhausted, and we haven't even done the intro yet.
Hey, welcome back to Red Flag Radio. I'm Zoe.
And I'm Marcus. Today we are diving into a post that made me put my coffee down and stare at the wall for a solid minute.
It is one of those posts where the title says we have the same fight constantly, and by paragraph 2, you understand exactly why.
Spoiler, it's not because she's bad at communicating.
So let's set the scene. She's 26, he's 28, married 3 years, together 10, and they have a 9-month-old baby.
Both work full-time. She commutes in person. He works from home.
She is up at 6 a.m., gets herself ready, gets the baby ready, drops off at daycare, goes to work, picks the baby up, does bath and bedtime every single night, and handles all the housework.
All of it. Dishes, laundry, groceries, the whole invisible infrastructure of a household.
Meanwhile, he wants to sleep in, take naps whenever, and his hobbies are golf, poker, and the gym.
Which, respect the hustle, but that's a bachelor's weekend schedule, not a new dad's.
Honestly, this guy's living like he's auditioning for a reality show called Single and Swinging, while his wife's over here running a full-time daycare and corporate headquarters from the kitchen table. Should we send him a participation trophy for showing up to fatherhood?
His defense, and I want you to really sit with this one, is that he makes $20,000 more than her.
And that he always wanted a leisurely lifestyle, and she knew that when they had a baby.
I'm sorry, a leisurely what now?
A leisurely lifestyle, Marcus? Like a Victorian gentleman with a pocket watch.
Okay, so I want to try something. Let me play devil's advocate for 30 seconds.
Oh no.
What if he genuinely is slammed? He's doing a full work-from-home job plus 6 credit hours of grad school. That's a lot.
Marcus, 6 credit hours is about 6 hours of work a week. She said that in the post.
6 hours a week.
6 hours a week.
Okay, I am officially withdrawing my devil's advocate badge. Please destroy me on air.
Marcus, I knew your devil's advocate badge was on shaky ground, but defending a guy with a 6-hour grad school week is the flimsiest hill to die on.
In fairness to me, I was testing the argument. That is how we do rigor on this show.
That is how you do rigor. I just call it being wrong out loud.
Noted. Moving on before I lose more dignity.
So here's where the patterns start stacking up, and this post has a whole buffet of them.
Let's start with entitlement, because that's the engine of this whole thing.
He earns more, so in his head, he has purchased a premium tier of the marriage.
Platinum package includes sleeping in, naps, and uninterrupted poker nights.
And crucially, it includes not having to clean the house he also lives in.
The $20,000 gap is doing a lot of rhetorical work here. It's not a fact, it's a weapon.
Right. It's not, here's how we split finances. It's, I out-earn you, therefore my time is more valuable than yours.
Which is wild because her time is literally keeping a human infant alive.
Then there's the weaponized incompetence angle. And honestly, this one is subtle in the post, but it's there.
He says he'll clean something, and then doesn't. He says, I'll get to it, and then the house is still a disaster the next morning.
Which trains her to just do it herself, because waiting is worse than doing.
And then the labor quietly becomes hers by default, and he gets to act like that was always the arrangement.
It's not that he can't do laundry, it's that performing helplessness is cheaper than actually helping.
You know, this husband has turned strategic uselessness into an Olympic sport. I bet he's got a gold medal in folding laundry so badly, it's just a pile of tears.
Now let's talk about the line that made me want to throw my phone across the room.
Can you go one day without complaining?
She is describing being overwhelmed, unsupported, exhausted, and his response is to frame her feelings as the problem.
That's emotional invalidation in its purest form. Her reality is inconvenient, so her reality must be wrong.
And it gets worse because he also hits her with, I don't think you even want to be a stay-at-home mom.
Which is such a specific knife. She told him she wants to be a stay-at-home mom, but they can't afford it.
So he takes the most vulnerable thing she's shared and uses it as evidence against her.
That's not a misunderstanding, that's aim.
And this is where we cross into Darvo territory, which I know is a term we throw around a lot.
Deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender, for anyone new.
He denies there's a workload problem, attacks her for complaining, and reframes himself as the one being nagged.
By the end of the fight, somehow she's the villain in a story where she did all the dishes.
It's a magic trick, and we should not applaud it.
The commenters on Reddit, by the way, did not applaud it.
No, they did not. This post has 472 upvotes and 682 comments, which is that ratio you see when people have strong opinions.
The top comment says he can use his extra $20,000 to outsource his share of the housework, since he clearly won't do it himself.
Which I actually think is a genuinely useful reframe, even if it doesn't fix the underlying disrespect.
Another commenter just said, "You are a single married mother."
Oof, that one is a sentence and a diagnosis at the same time.
And several people pointed out that her life would objectively be easier with 50-50 custody than with him home full-time.
Which is a dark thing to realize, but it's math.
You know, when divorce starts looking like a life hack for workload balance, it's probably time to question if your marriage is a partnership or just a really bad unpaid internship.
There was also a great comment saying, no good relationship contains the phrase, can you go one day without complaining?
I would put that on a fridge magnet.
And a few people flagged the financial piece, warning her to keep her own income no matter what.
Because the same guy who weaponizes a $20,000 gap today is not someone you want controlling the checkbook tomorrow.
So what's our read here? Because I want to be careful. I don't think every overwhelmed couple needs to split up.
Agreed. New parenthood is brutal and people say ugly things when they're sleep deprived.
But this isn't a sleep deprivation blip. This is a stated worldview. He told her he wants a leisurely life and she can absorb the difference.
He's not confused about the imbalance. He's defending it.
And that's the red flag, not the messy house, not the naps, the defense of the arrangement.
If he said, "You're right, I've been coasting, let's actually split this," we'd be having a completely different episode.
Instead, he says, can you go one day without complaining? So our verdict is pretty clear.
This is a red flag situation, and the flag is frankly enormous.
Our takeaway for this week. When you bring a real concern to your partner and they respond by making your feelings the crime, that is the fight. That's the whole fight.
You're not fighting about dishes. You're fighting about whether your experience is allowed to exist in the room.
Beautifully said. See, this is why we keep you around.
I earn my keep in one sentence per episode. It's a leisurely lifestyle.
Meanwhile, I carry the other 80 sentences, but sure. Tell me more about your workload.
Oh, we are not letting that phrase die, are we?
Not for at least 3 more episodes.
You'll thank me later.
That's it for this one, friends. If this post hit close to home, we see you, and please talk to someone you trust.
Thanks for hanging out with us. Rate, subscribe, send us your worst Reddit finds.
Until next time, watch for the red flags.
Red Flag Radio.
We see the signs.